Boss, this boy lived with me at the orphanage. Valentina's voice broke the silence of that Thursday afternoon. She held the cleaning cloth with trembling hands, her wide eyes fixed on the framed photograph on the office mantel. Murillo dropped the coffee cup. He turned around so quickly that he almost knocked over the chair. What do you mean? The new cleaning lady. That quiet girl who barely spoke to him since she started working there 3 weeks ago was as white as a sheet. This boy here. He lived at the Santa Clara orphanage with me. We slept in the same dormitory. His name was Daniel. A shiver ran down Murillo's spine. Daniel. The name he hadn't heard in almost 30 years. The name of the twin brother who had disappeared when they were 4 years old. This can't be possible. My brother, he died a long time ago. Valentina shook her head, tears beginning to fall. I don't know about any death, boss, but I know that this boy lived until he was 16 at the orphanage. He was my best friend. He protected me when the older boys messed with me. Murillo crossed the office in 3 steps. He picked up the photo from her hands. The boy in the picture was smiling, the same dark eyes he saw in the mirror every morning. The same shape of the face, the same crooked smile on the left side. Are you sure? Absolutely sure. I am, sir. I will never forget that face. Daniel always talked about a twin brother, a big house, a father who cooked. Murillo's throat tightened. Their father had been a chef. That's why Murillo had followed the same profession. He talked about his brother all the time, Valentina continued, wiping her face with the back of her hand. He said that one day you would reunite, that the brother would never give up looking for him. Soft footsteps on the stairs interrupted the conversation. Sophia appeared in the office doorway, hugging the teddy bear she hadn't let go of since the accident. The 7-year-old girl had a pale face and frightened little eyes. Dad, did something happen? Nothing, sweetheart. Go back to your room, okay? But Sophia looked at Valentina, and something in the cleaner's eyes seemed to calm the girl. Valentina gave a gentle smile, even with tears wetting her face. Hi, Sophie. It's all right, dear. Just a boring adult conversation. Sophia stood still for a few more seconds, looking from the cleaner to her father. Then she nodded slowly and went up the stairs. But before disappearing down the hallway, she looked back one more time, as if she wanted to make sure Valentina was still there. When the girl left, Murillo sat down in the armchair. His legs could no longer bear the weight of that revelation. Tell me everything. Everything you know about him. Valentina pulled a chair and sat in front of him. She took a deep breath, trying to control her emotions. Daniel had a birthmark behind his left ear, crescent-shaped, and he was left-handed, but he knew how to use both hands to write and draw. Murillo closed his eyes. Daniel had exactly that mark. And their father, who was a chef, had taught both of them to use both hands to hold a knife and train coordination. My God, he always had a little notebook in his hand, you know? He drew all the time. Houses with gardens, a piano, 2 boys holding hands, and always a man with a chef's hat. Murillo's voice came out low, almost a whisper. My father wore a chef's hat at home. Valentina nodded. Daniel knew that. He remembered so much. He remembered you calling him champion. He remembered your mother playing the piano. He never forgot. Why did no one believe him? Why did no one look for the family? Because the documents said he was an orphan, that the adoptive parents had died in an accident. Everyone thought his stories were just a child's imagination. Murillo covered his face with his hands, trying to process all of that. If Valentina was right, and everything indicated that she was, then his brother had been alive all these years. Alive and waiting to be found. And no one had really looked for him. Valentina served water for both of them. They stayed there in the office while the afternoon fell outside, the golden sunlight streaming through the windows. Before talking more about Daniel, Valentina said, stirring her glass, I need you to understand one thing. I grew up in that orphanage since I was 5. My parents died in a bus accident. There was no one else. Murillo gestured for her to continue. Daniel arrived there when I was about 12 years old. He appeared out of nowhere, brought by a social worker. He was 9 at the time. They said his adoptive parents had just died in a car accident. So he lived with another family from 4 to 9 years old? Yes. But he swore he had another family before, the real family, and that one day he would go back to them. What was he like at the orphanage? Quiet. He spent the day drawing. But he was strong, you know. When the bigger boys messed with me, he would step in front. He would get scolded. Sometimes he would get hit, but he wouldn't let anyone hurt me. Valentina smiled, lost in memories. We became best friends. I took care of him when he got sick. He protected me from the others. We promised we would never be separated. That when we left the orphanage, we would live together, be a family. What happened? He ran away when he was 16. He had a bad fight with one of the caregivers who hit him. Daniel said he couldn't wait any longer, that he was going to look for his brother alone. I tried to hold him back, begged him not to go, but he had already made up his mind. And you never saw him again? Never again. I searched for years. I went to shelters, police stations, hospitals. But it was as if he had vanished, until I gave up. I thought something bad had happened. Her voice faltered at the end. Modelo saw the tears returning. I'm so sorry, Valentina. She quickly wiped her face. When I saw his picture here, it was as if time went back. All the memories came flooding back at once. You did the right thing by telling me. Valentina looked at him. Do you believe me then? Don't you think I'm making this up? I believe you. Everything you said matches the memories I have of him. Things that no one could know. They both fell silent for a moment, a heavy silence, laden with years of pain and loss. Can I ask you something? Valentina said. Of course. How is Sofia doing now? You said she improved in the last few weeks. Murilo stood up and went to the window. He looked out at the garden. My wife died a year ago, car accident. A drunk driver hit her head on. She died on the spot. I'm so sorry. Sofia didn't see the accident, but she realized her mother wasn't coming back. She waited for me by the window all night. When I told her what happened, she went into shock. She stopped talking for weeks. Valentina listened in silence. Then the panic attack started. The fear of leaving the house. She would lock herself in her room, wouldn't eat properly, wouldn't talk to anyone. The doctors said it was severe social phobia caused by trauma. And how is she now? Murilo turned to Valentina. Better, because of you. I didn't do anything special. You did. You achieved what no therapist could in a year. The memory came back clear in his mind. Second week of Valentina's work. He was in the office when he heard a strange noise coming from upstairs. He ran up, afraid that Sofia was having another attack. But when he reached the hallway, he saw something he would never forget. The door to Sofia's room was ajar. And through the crack he saw his daughter sitting on the bed, holding a yellow piece of paper. She was smiling. Smiling. It had been so long since he had seen his daughter smile that he had almost forgotten what it was like. Sofia read the note again and let out a soft giggle. Then she got up, walked to the door, and opened it wide. Valentina was on the other side, holding a plate with a sandwich and juice. I thought you might like a snack. Sofia took the plate without saying anything. But before closing the door, she looked at Valentina and whispered, Thank you. It was just one word, but it was the first word Sofia had said in weeks. From that day on, Valentina started leaving notes under the door every day. Notes with funny drawings, short stories, bad jokes. And little by little, the girl began to open the door. First, just a crack. Then a little more. Until one day she stepped out of the room. Murilo had never asked how Valentina had managed. He was afraid of breaking the spell. But now, looking at the cleaning lady in front of him, he understood. Valentina knew what loneliness was, she knew what loss was, and Sofia had recognized that in her. "Thank you," he said suddenly. Valentina blinked, confused. For what? For bringing my daughter back to me, for giving me hope of finding my brother, for being here. She turned red and looked down. "I just did what was right." "No, you did much more than that." The next day, Murillo called Valentina into the office again. There was an open wooden box on the table. "This is all that is left of Daniel." Inside the box were old photos, a pair of small shoes, a faded cap, and a sketchbook. Valentina carefully picked up the sketchbook, as if it might break. She opened it to the first page and widened her eyes. My God! He drew just like that when he was a child. The drawings were simple but full of details. A house with a garden, 2 boys holding hands, a piano in the living room, a man with a chef's hat. "These drawings are from before he disappeared," Murillo explained. "My mother kept everything when he went missing. She could never bring herself to get rid of anything." Valentina slowly turned the pages, touching each drawing as if she could feel the boy's presence there. "I need to tell you about the day he disappeared," Murillo said, sitting in the chair. "If we're going to look for him, you need to know everything." Valentina closed the sketchbook and paid attention. It was a Sunday morning. Daniel and I were 4 years old. My father decided to take us for a walk at the reservoir. My mother stayed home because she had a headache. He paused, his voice becoming heavier. "We were playing by the water's edge. There were other adults around, other families. My father got distracted for just a few seconds to talk to a friend. When he looked again, Daniel had disappeared." "And what happened next?" "Everyone started to search. Divers, police, firefighters. They searched for days. They found Daniel's cap floating in the water, but they never found the body." Valentina brought her hand to her mouth. "There were witnesses who swore they saw him falling into the water. They said they tried to save him but couldn't. After 3 months of searching, he was declared dead by drowning. But he didn't die. No, someone took him. Someone faked the drowning and took my brother." Murillo stood up and began to walk around the office. "My family was never the same after that. My mother fell into a deep depression. She stopped teaching music, stopped playing the piano. She would just stare at his photo, waiting for him to come back." "And your father?" "My father threw himself into work. He opened the restaurant and started living there. I think it was his way of not thinking about what had happened." "And you?" "I grew up with guilt. I thought I should have held his hand, that if I had stayed close, none of this would have happened. But you were a child. How could you know?" "The mind knows that, but the heart doesn't." Valentina understood. She carried her own guilt from the orphanage. "My mother died when I was 15. Her heart just stopped. The doctor said it was complications from depression, but I know she died of sadness for losing Daniel. I'm sorry, Murillo. My father lived for another 10 years. He taught me everything about cooking. When he died, I inherited the restaurant. I turned it into one of the best in the city, to honor him. Yes, it was my way of keeping both of them alive, my father and my brother." The two fell silent. Outside, birds were singing in the garden trees. "I'm going to hire a detective," Murillo said. "I will go through every file, every document. If Daniel is alive somewhere, I will find him. And I will help, in everything I can." He looked at her. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me well." "Because Daniel was my brother too. Not by blood, but by heart, and I promised I would never give up on him." 2 days passed. It was Saturday morning, and Murillo was in the kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. He went to answer it. When he opened the door, the surprise almost knocked him over. Amanda. The ex-fiancée was at the door, smiling, holding a bakery bag and a bouquet of flowers. "Hi, Murillo. It's been so long. I brought fresh bread and flowers for the garden." "What are you doing here?" "I came to catch up. Can we talk?" She didn't wait for a response. She walked past him and entered the house, as if she still lived there. Wow, everything is still the same. Even the smell of coffee is the same. Murillo closed the door, still processing the unexpected visit. "Amanda, we broke up 2 years ago. You can't just show up without warning." I know. But I missed you. Missed you, Sofia, this house. Can I stay for a few minutes? Before Murilo could respond, Valentina appeared in the kitchen doorway, drying her hands on her apron. Sir, the coffee is ready. Do you want me to? She stopped when she saw the woman in the living room. Amanda looked at the maid, noticed the simple uniform, the hair tied back in a ponytail, the still, wet hands. Hi. You're new here, right? Yes. I started 3 weeks ago. Oh, that's great. The house needed someone to take care of things properly. The tone was sweet, but there was something sharp underneath. Valentina felt it, but didn't respond. She just nodded and went back to the kitchen. Amanda waited for her to disappear and turned to Murilo. She seems just right. Valentina is great at what she does. I can imagine. She walked to the living room and sat on the couch, making a point of getting comfortable, as if she were at home. So, tell me, how have you been? How's Sofia? Murilo sighed. He knew Amanda wasn't leaving anytime soon. He went to the armchair and sat down. We're doing well, better than a few months ago. Really? That's wonderful. I was so worried when I heard about Camila's accident. I wanted to come earlier, but I thought you needed space. And I did. Amanda made a puppy dog face. I know we didn't end well. I know I pushed too hard about marriage. But I've always cared for you, Murilo. For you and for Sofia. Where are you trying to go with this? Nowhere. I just wanted to see you guys. To know if you're okay. To be a friend, you know? We're not friends, Amanda. We could be. At that moment, light footsteps on the stairs caught the attention of the two. Sofia appeared at the top, slowly descending, holding onto the railing with one hand and the teddy bear with the other. When she saw Amanda, she stopped in the middle of the stairs. Sofia! Amanda jumped up. Look how much you've grown, beautiful. Come give your aunt a hug. Sofia stood still, looking from the woman to her father. She didn't descend any further. Good morning, she said softly. Amanda forced a smile. How cute. Still shy, huh? But are you okay? Are you eating well? Sofia didn't answer. She looked at the kitchen door, searching for someone. Valentina appeared holding a plate. Sofia, dear. I made those pancakes you love. Come eat while they're warm. Sofia's little face lit up. She ran down the rest of the stairs and went straight to the kitchen, passing by Amanda without even looking. Amanda stood there with a frozen smile on her face, watching the girl disappear with the housekeeper. She's really attached to the maid, isn't she? She said, sitting down again. Valentina helped Sofia a lot. She was the only person who managed to get her out of the room. Ah, how sweet of her. But the way she spoke made it clear that she didn't think it was sweet at all. She spent a few more minutes trying to make small talk with Murilo, asking about the restaurant, the business, if he was seeing anyone. But Murilo answered everything with monosyllables, clearly uncomfortable. Well, I think I better go, Amanda finally said, grabbing her bag. I just wanted to say hi, see how you guys were doing. She walked to the door. Before leaving, she held Murilo's arm. Can we have dinner one of these days? Just the two of us, to catch up properly. I don't know if that's a good idea. Please, just one dinner, like old friends. Murilo hesitated. I'll think about it. Perfect. I'll call you then. Bye, Murilo. She gave him a long kiss on the cheek and left. When the door closed, Murilo stood there. Something was wrong. Amanda never did anything without having a reason behind it. In the kitchen, Sofia was eating pancakes while Valentina was washing the dishes. I didn't like that woman, Sofia suddenly said. Why not, dear? Because she's fake. She smiled at me, but her eyes didn't smile along. Valentina stopped washing the dishes and looked at the girl. You're very smart, you know. My dad always says that. He's absolutely right. The two smiled at each other. Outside, Amanda sat in the car but didn't start the engine yet. She took her phone and opened Murilo's Instagram. She scrolled through the feed until she found what she was looking for. A recent photo, taken 4 days ago. Sofia sitting at the kitchen table, smiling while stirring something in a bowl. And in the background, slightly out of focus, Valentina could be seen. She read the caption, "My daughter finally started smiling again, grateful to those who brought light to our home." Amanda gritted her teeth. So that's it. The little maid had managed to enter their lives. She had won over the girl. And by the way, Murillo had talked about her, maybe he had won him over too. He opened the browser and typed in the full name he had seen on the uniform badge. Valentina Costa Silva. He started to search. Social media, old news, anything he could use. Because one thing Amanda knew how to do well was uncover secrets. And everyone had skeletons in their closet. She just needed to find Valentina's. 2.5 weeks had passed since Murillo hired the private investigator. During that time, he and Valentina had spent several nights in the office, reviewing old documents, yellowed photos, records that the investigator was managing to obtain. Sofia started to come down for dinner with them a few times. There were still tough days, days when she wouldn't leave her room, but they were becoming fewer. Valentina's presence seemed to calm the girl in a way no medicine had managed to. On a Thursday afternoon, the phone rang. Murillo was alone in the office. Valentina had gone to the market with the shopping list. "Mr. Cardoso, it's Investigator Paolo. Did you find anything?" "Yes. And you're going to want to sit down to hear this." Murillo pulled out a chair. "Go ahead. Your brother's death certificate has several inconsistencies. It was issued based only on testimonies, without a body. And I found out that one of the main witnesses died 6 months later under strange circumstances." "What do you mean strange?" "A hit and run that was never solved. The case was filed as an accident, but there are details that don't add up. And there's more." Murillo gripped the phone tighter. "I found records of a nurse who worked at the public hospital at the time of the supposed drowning. 3 days after your brother's case, she resigned, took her family, and disappeared. She moved to another city, changed her name. She was never seen again in the area." "What does that mean?" "It means someone may have been paid to turn a blind eye. Or to actively help. I'm still investigating, but everything indicates that the drowning was staged, Mr. Cardoso." Murillo closed his eyes, trying to control what he was feeling. "And the records from the orphanage?" "I gained access yesterday. There is a boy registered as Daniel Silva who entered the Santa Clara orphanage exactly 2 days after your brother went missing. Age at entry, 4 years. Reason for admission, adoptive parents deceased in a car accident." "It was him," Murillo whispered. "Everything indicates so, sir. I will continue investigating. But there is a real chance that your brother was kidnapped and sold to a family that could not adopt through legal means. When that family died in the accident, the boy ended up in the orphanage with a false identity. How long do you need to gather all the evidence?" "A few weeks still, maybe a month. They are very old documents. I will have to take it slow to avoid raising suspicion." "All right, do what you need. Money is not a problem." "Understood, Mr. Cardoso. I will call when I have more news." The call ended. Murillo sat there, the phone still in hand, processing everything. 20 years. 20 years of lies. 20 years thinking that his brother had drowned, when in fact he was alive. Forgotten in an orphanage just a few kilometers away. The office door opened. Valentina entered with 2 grocery bags. "I found that chocolate that Sofia likes. It was on sale," and she stopped when she saw the expression on Murillo's face. "Did something happen?" Murillo looked at her, and for the first time since Valentina had arrived, he couldn't hold back. The investigator called. "You were right. About everything." Valentina dropped the bags on the floor. "Did he find Daniel?" "Not yet. But he found evidence that he was kidnapped, that the drowning was faked, that he was sold to a family and then ended up in the orphanage when that family died. My God." Murillo stood up and went to the window. His hands were shaking. He was alive all this time, Valentina. Alive and waiting. And I didn't know. I didn't look properly. I accepted what they told me and moved on. You were a child. There was no way to know. But then I grew up. I became an adult. I could have investigated. I could have questioned. But I did nothing. His voice came out louder than he intended. Valentina took a step back, startled. Murillo noticed and took a deep breath. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout. I understand. You're processing a lot. He returned to the chair, ran his hands over his face. What if it's too late? What if we can't find him? We will find him. How can you be so sure? Valentina stepped closer but kept a respectful distance. Because I know Daniel, and if he talked so much about his brother, it's because he never gave up. He's out there, and we will find him. The two fell silent. Valentina saw the pain in Murillo's eyes and wanted to do something, say something that would help. But she didn't know what. I'll make some tea, she finally said. You need to breathe a little. Thank you, Valentina. She grabbed the bags and went to the kitchen. When the door closed, Murillo let his head fall into his hands. Almost 30 years of lies, almost 30 years of unnecessary guilt. And now, finally, there was hope of finding his brother. But along with the hope came fear, fear that it might be too late, fear that Daniel might not want to know him anymore, fear of discovering that his brother had suffered too much. Valentina returned 15 minutes later with a cup of chamomile tea. She placed it on the table without saying anything. Sir, may I say something? Of course. You didn't fail, Daniel. You were deceived. The whole family was deceived. This is not your fault. Murillo took the cup, but didn't drink. I should have suspected. I should have investigated. How? You were a child. Then a teenager dealing with your mother's death. Then an adult trying to save your father's restaurant. When were you going to have time to question something that everyone said was true? He looked at her. Valentina was there, firm, her eyes full of certainty. You are very wise for your age, you know. I learned early that blaming myself for the past doesn't change anything. We can only change what we do from here on out. And what do I do from here on out? Keep searching, don't give up, and when you find Daniel, hug him and apologize. Not for failing, but for taking so long. Murillo finally drank the tea. It was sweet, just the way he liked it. Thank you, for everything. Valentina gave a small smile. We will find him, Mr. Murillo. I promise we will find him. And a week later, during a business dinner at the mansion, Murillo would discover that promises do not always come true the way we expect, and that trust, no matter how strong it seems, can be broken with a single well-told lie. 8 weeks had passed since the first conversation with the investigator. The search for Daniel continued, slowly but steadily. The investigator called every week with small advances, names of retired social workers, old adoption records, pieces of a puzzle nearly 30 years old. Meanwhile, life in the mansion had changed in ways Murillo never imagined. Sofia now went down to the kitchen every morning. She still had bad days when she woke up scared and didn't want to leave her room, but those days were becoming increasingly rare. One Saturday morning, Murillo went down and found the kitchen covered in flour. Sofia and Valentina were laughing, their faces white from all the flour in the air. What a mess is this? Valentina was startled and tried to clean the flour off her clothes. Sorry, sir, we were making bread and I threw flour on her, Sofia added, laughing. But it was an accident. Murillo looked around. There was flour everywhere, but his daughter was happy, truly happy. You can continue. Just don't blow up the kitchen. Sofia ran and hugged her father. Thank you, Dad. Val is teaching me how to make bread just like at the orphanage. She ran back to the table where there was a bowl of dough. Murillo approached Valentina. Thank you for all of this. You don't need to thank me. She's the special one. Even so, you achieved what no therapist could. Valentina gave a small smile and returned to the bread dough. Murillo stayed there a little longer, just watching. There was something in the way Valentina cared for Sofia that moved him. It wasn't just affection, it was respect. She treated the girl as someone strong, capable of overcoming, and Sofia was thriving because of it. "Dad, come knead with us." "I don't know how to make bread." "Val teaches. It's easy." Murillo went to the table. Valentina showed the movements, the way to press without using too much force. Like this. "Let the dough guide you." He tried, but the dough stuck to his hands. "I guess I'm not cut out for this." Sofia laughed. "You're a chef, and you don't know how to make bread." Valentina sprinkled more flour and helped him free the dough from his hands. "Let's go again." Slowly. The three of them stayed there for almost an hour, laughing at Murillo's clumsiness, cleaning up the mess Sofia was making, waiting for the bread to rise. When the bread finally came out of the oven, golden and fragrant, Sofia clapped her hands. "We did it!" "We really did," Valentina said, smiling at the girl. Murillo cut a still warm slice and tasted it. It was delicious. "You should open a bakery." Valentina laughed. "Orphanage bread doesn't sell in fancy bakeries, sir." "It would if it were yours." She felt shy and went to wash the bowls. Later, when Sofia went upstairs to draw, Murillo helped clean the kitchen. "The investigator called yesterday," he said, while drying a dish. Valentina stopped washing the dishes. "So?" "He's tracking a person who might have known Daniel. A social worker who worked in the area of the orphanage at the time, now retired. He lives in the countryside." "That's good news." "Yes, but it will still take time." Valentina went back to washing. "We're going to find him, I'm sure of it." "How do you have so much faith?" "Because I know Daniel. He would never give up, and we won't either." Murillo kept looking at her. There was something about Valentina that attracted him more and more. Her strength, her kindness, the way she transformed everything around her just by being present. He shook his head. He couldn't think about those things. She was an employee. He was the boss. There was a distance that couldn't be crossed. But the heart didn't care about those rules. Amanda hadn't wasted any time. 3 weeks ago, she had hired a private investigator to find out everything about Valentina. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth every dollar. The man brought a complete dossier. Previous addresses, past jobs, even the names of her orphanage classmates. That's when Amanda struck gold. Valentina had worked for a wealthy family 2 years ago. She left after 6 months. No reference letter. No notice. Amanda called the former employer. A woman named Beatriz Tavares, sour voice, full of resentment. "Valentina? That viper stole from me." Amanda sat in the chair, smiling. "Tell me everything." "She stole a gold necklace from my mother. A family heirloom, with sentimental value. When I found out, she had already fled. I filed a police report, but they never found her." "And the lawsuit?" "There wasn't time. She disappeared first. Even changed cities. But I have all the documents. If you want, I can send them to you." "Send everything." Beatriz sent it by email. Police report, photos of the missing necklace, even messages she had sent to Valentina accusing her of theft. Amanda printed everything, but she knew it wasn't enough. She needed something more official, something that looked like a real lawsuit. She called a known lawyer. A man without scruples who would do anything for money. "I need you to create a document. A fake labor lawsuit." The lawyer hesitated. "This is a crime, Amanda. I know. And I will pay very well for it." "How much?" 50,000. Silence on the other side. Send the details. 3 days later, Amanda had a perfect document. Labor lawsuit of Valentina Costa Silva against the Tavares family. with a counter-accusation of theft. Everything so well done that it would pass as authentic at first glance. Now she just needed the right moment to use it. In the meantime, she started showing up at the mansion more frequently, always with excuses. I brought cake. I brought flowers. I brought a gift for Sofia. Murillo let her in, unaware of the poison she carried. During one of these visits, Amanda managed to be alone in the kitchen with Valentina. "You work so well, Val. Can I call you Val?" "Sure." "How long have you been working for Murillo?" "A month and a half." "Wow, such a short time and already so close to the family. You're lucky." Valentina didn't like the tone but didn't respond. "And before? Where did you work?" "In another family's house." "Why did you leave?" Valentina tensed up. "It didn't work out." "Oh, I understand. Sometimes we just don't fit in, right?" Amanda gave a sweet smile. "But here you fit in perfectly. Sofia loves you. Murillo also seems to like you a lot. He is a good boss." "Just a boss?" Valentina looked at her. "What do you mean?" Nothing. I just found it interesting how you two are close. He trusts you a lot. I do my job right." "Of course." Amanda grabbed the bag. "Well, I'm off. I just came to drop off the cake." When she left, Valentina felt a tightness in her chest. There was something about that woman that was pure danger. 2 days later, Amanda returned. This time, she brought a friend. "Murillo, this is Patricia. She works in human resources. I was telling her how careful you are. With the house, with Sofia. She wanted to give you some safety tips." Patricia was a woman in her 40s, serious, with a professional demeanor. "Mr. Cardoso, in the HR field, we always recommend doing background checks on all domestic employees, especially those who have contact with children." Murillo frowned. "Valentina has references. I checked. References are important, but sometimes they don't tell the whole story. There are things that only come up in a deeper check." "What kind of things?" "Labor lawsuits, for example, debts, criminal records." Valentina doesn't have any of that. Patricia and Amanda exchanged a glance. "Are you sure?" Amanda asked. Murillo felt uncomfortable. "I am." But the seed of doubt had been planted. That night, he stayed awake late. He picked up his phone and almost searched for Valentina's name. But he felt ridiculous. She had saved Sofia. She had brought hope of finding Daniel. Why would he doubt her now? He put down the phone and tried to sleep. But sleep wouldn't come. 3 weeks later, Murillo organized an informal dinner at the mansion. They were close friends, not business partners. 4 couples, light conversation, nothing formal. He hired a catering service to prepare the food. Valentina just needed to help serve the drinks and keep everything organized. The afternoon was calm. Sofia helped set the table, excited because she would be able to greet the guests before going up to her room. Everything was going well until the doorbell rang at 7 in the evening. It was Amanda. Again. "Murillo, hi. I came to help with dinner." "I didn't call you, Amanda." "I know, but when you mentioned dinner last week, I thought I'd lend a hand. You know me, I love a gathering." She walked in before he could protest. The guests started to arrive. Everyone greeting each other, chatting, laughing. The atmosphere was good. Valentina was serving drinks, always polite and discreet. Amanda watched her every move like a hawk. It was during the appetizer that Amanda made her move. Valentina was passing by with a tray of canapés when Amanda bumped into her. It wasn't hard, but it was enough to make the tray wobble. "Watch out, Val!" Valentina managed to hold the tray, but one of the canapés fell to the floor. "Oh my God, what a clumsiness!" Amanda covered her mouth. "Did you see that? Almost everything fell." The guests looked on. Valentina turned red, bent down to pick up the canapé. "Sorry, I'll clean it up right away." Murillo noticed something was wrong, but couldn't identify what. "It's okay, Valentina. Just clean it up and bring another tray." She quickly went to the kitchen. Amanda waited until dessert to drop the bomb. The conversation was lively when she pulled out her phone. "Guys, speaking of which, do you do background checks on the household staff?" One of the women, named Renata, replied, "Of course, always. It's dangerous to let anyone in without knowing who they are." "That's right. I've always done that too." Amanda looked at her phone. "That's why I was so worried when I found out something about Valentina." The mood changed instantly. Everyone fell silent. Murilo felt his stomach tighten. "Amanda, don't do this." But she was already showing the phone screen to the guests. "Look. Labor lawsuit. She sued the previous family for unpaid wages, but the family countersued, claiming theft of jewelry. One of the men, a businessman in his 60s named Roberto, took her phone to see better. This is serious. Theft of property." "The case was dismissed," Murilo said, his voice louder than usual. "There was no evidence at all." But Amanda had already spread the poison. Renata made a disgusted face. "I would never hire someone with a record, even if it's been archived. You know how it is, right? Where there's smoke." The others agreed. Valentina had come out of the kitchen with the dessert tray. She stopped at the door upon hearing the conversation. She saw all the guests looking at Amanda's phone, whispering, making faces of disapproval. She understood right away what had happened. She took a deep breath and entered the room. She placed the desserts on the table with steady hands, even though she was trembling inside. Roberto looked at her with disdain. "Miss, can you bring my wallet? I left it in my coat at the entrance." Valentina was going to get it when he added, "By the way, never mind. I'll get it myself. It's safer." The women laughed softly. Valentina felt her cheeks burn, but she kept her head held high. She went back to the kitchen and leaned against the wall, trying to breathe. Outside, Murilo was furious. "Amanda, you had no right to do that. I have the right to protect the people I love. And you and Sofia are important to me. You humiliated Valentina in front of everyone." I told the truth. If the truth humiliates, the problem is not me. The guests felt awkward. The atmosphere of the dinner had completely soured. They left soon after, all with hasty excuses. When the last one left, Murilo turned to Amanda. "Leave, and don't come back." "Murilo, I told you to go." Amanda grabbed her bag, her eyes shining with anger and satisfaction at the same time. As she passed through the kitchen, she whispered to Valentina, "You don't belong here. The sooner you accept that, the better," and she left. Murilo entered the kitchen. Valentina was washing the dishes forcefully, her head down. "Valentina, I'm sorry." She had no right. "You don't need to apologize, sir. I know my place. It's not about place. It's about respect. And she disrespected you. She showed a document. Is it true or not?" Murilo fell silent. "It is true that there is a process. But it was archived. There was no evidence of anything. But it exists. Yes, it exists. The previous boss accused me of stealing a necklace because her husband kept looking at me. She made up the theft to get me fired. I filed a report, tried to defend myself, but I didn't have money for a lawyer. The case was archived and I moved to another city to start over. Why didn't you ever tell me?" "Because I was ashamed. Because I knew that even though it was a lie, people would look at me differently. And I was right." She looked at him with red eyes. "You're looking at me differently now." Murilo opened his mouth to deny it, but he couldn't. Because she was right. Valentina went back to the dishes. Murilo stayed for a moment, not knowing what to say. Then he went up to the room and closed the door. Valentina finished cleaning everything. She went up to her little room and locked herself in there. She sat on the bed and let the tears fall, because for the first time since she had arrived there, she realized that it didn't matter how hard she worked, how much she tried. To them, she would always be just the cleaner, the poor girl from the orphanage, someone who could be discarded at any moment. The next day, the atmosphere in the mansion was heavy. Murilo could barely look at Valentina at breakfast. Sofia noticed that something was wrong. "Dad, Val is sad. She's fine. No, she's not. She cried last night. I heard. Murilo looked at his daughter. How do you know? I woke up thirsty and heard noise in her room. She was crying softly. His chest tightened. But he didn't know how to fix it. In the afternoon, when Murilo was in the office reviewing documents from the investigation about Daniel, the doorbell rang. It was Amanda. And she wasn't alone. She brought a woman in her 50s, well-dressed, with a professional smile. Murilo, this is Helena. She has 20 years of experience as a housekeeper. She worked for the Mendez family, the one from the bank. I thought you would want to meet her. Murilo frowned. I'm not looking for a housekeeper. Not yet, but after what happened yesterday, I thought you might want to reconsider your options. He was going to send both of them away when Sophia appeared at the top of the stairs. Who is she? The girl asked, pointing at Helena. Amanda climbed 2 steps. Hi, Sophie, this is Helena, a wonderful housekeeper. Your dad is thinking about hiring her. No, I'm not, Murilo said firmly. But Amanda ignored him. Helena cooks, cleans, organizes events. She's much better than Val? Sophia completed, coming down the stairs. No one is better than Val. Sweetheart, Valentina is nice. But she's not reliable. Your dad needs someone who... She is reliable, Sophia shouted. You're the liar. Sophia, Murilo called. Don't talk like that. But it's true. She keeps talking bad about Val all the time. Amanda forced a smile. Dear, I just want the best for you and your father. And Valentina, she's not good for you. Yes, she is. No, she's not. She's only here for the money. She's not a true friend. Yes, she is. Sophia started to cry. She's my friend! Valentina appeared in the kitchen doorway at that moment. She had heard everything. Sophia ran to her and hugged her waist tightly. Val, don't let them send you away. Valentina held the girl but looked at Murilo. If you want me to go, I will. No problem. Amanda took advantage. See, she knows herself that she has no future here. I didn't say that. But she thought, you know you're not good enough for this family. Valentina gently released Sophia. The problem isn't that I'm not good enough. The problem is you can't accept that you lost. Amanda turned red. I haven't lost anything. Murilo is mine. He always was. He was never yours. You ended it with him yourself. Because he wasn't ready. But now that his wife is dead, he's free. And I'm not going to let a poor maid steal what's mine. Murilo finally reacted. Amanda, enough. Get out of my house now. No. She pointed at Valentina. She showed up here with a crazy story about a dead brother. She set everything up to get close to you. First, she won over Sophia. Now she's trying to win you over. I didn't set anything up, Valentina replied, her voice trembling. I came to work. That's it. Lies. Amanda was out of control now. You saw an opportunity. Rich man, widower, daughter, needing attention. You thought you would do well. Murilo stepped forward. Amanda, I'm going to count to 3. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. You're going to regret it. She's interested. She stole from the previous employer, and will steal from you too. 1. Murilo, listen. 2. Amanda grabbed her bag, her eyes filled with rage. You'll see, when she deceives you, when she steals everything you have, you'll remember that I warned you. She left, slamming the door. Helena, the so-called governess, ran after her. The silence that remained was heavy. Sophia was still hugging Valentina, quietly crying. Murilo looked at the two. He saw the pain on Valentina's face, the confusion on his daughter's face. Sophia, go to your room. But Dad, go. Please. The girl slowly let go of Valentina and went up the stairs, looking back at each step. When she disappeared, Murilo turned to Valentina. I need to know the truth. About everything. I already told the truth. About Daniel, about the process, about everything. But you didn't tell me before. You hid it. Because I was ashamed. Because I knew you would look at me the way you are looking at me now. And how am I looking? Like I'm a liar. A freeloader. Like everything I've done here means nothing. Murilo ran his hand over his face, exhausted. I don't know what to believe anymore. Valentina felt her heart break. Then maybe it's better if I just leave. He remained silent. He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. And that silence hurt more than any scream. I'm gonna pack my things, she said, her voice coming out low. She climbed the stairs slowly, each step weighing more than the last. Murilo was left alone in the room. He sat on the couch and put his head in his hands. Upstairs, Sofia heard everything from the bedroom door. She saw Valentina pass by in the hallway with red eyes. Val, she called softly. Valentina stopped but didn't turn around. Everything will be okay, Sophie. You're a strong girl. You'll be fine. Are you leaving? Silence. You're not, right? You promised you would stay. Valentina finally turned around. She knelt in front of the girl. Sometimes we can't keep our promises, love. Not because we don't want to, but because the world won't let us. I don't want you to go. I know, but your father needs to trust me, and he doesn't trust me anymore. Then make him trust. Show him that you're good. Valentina hugged the girl tightly. That's not how it works, Sophie. We can't make anyone believe in us. People choose. And your father chose not to believe. She released the hug and entered her little room. Sophia stayed in the hallway, crying silently. Because of all the things that her mother's death had taken from her, this was the worst. The hope that someone would finally stay. Valentina didn't leave that day. Murilo asked her to stay until the end of the week while he decided what to do. She agreed because she needed the money. But everything had changed. Mrs. Celia, the cook who had always been kind, now treated her coldly. Amanda had called her and told her everything about Valentina's, quote, process. On Monday morning, when Valentina went to help in the kitchen as she always did, she found the door locked. Mrs. Celia? She knocked lightly. I need to get things for Mr. Murilo's coffee. The door opened, just a crack. Mrs. Celia passed her a ready tray. I already did. You don't need to come in. But I always help you. No more need, the door is closed. Valentina stood there with the tray in her hands. She swallowed her tears and took the coffee to the office. Later, she went to hang clothes on the line. She found her spare uniform torn in the middle. Someone had cut it with scissors. She took it to the laundry where Mr. Jorge, the caretaker, kept the sewing materials. Mr. Jorge, my uniform is torn. Do you have thread and a needle? He barely looked at her. No. But you always have. I don't have. Look somewhere else. He turned his back and left. Valentina sewed the uniform by herself in her room, with thread she found in an old drawer. The next day her lunch disappeared from the fridge. She had left her lunchbox there in the morning. By lunchtime it had vanished. She searched the entire kitchen. Nothing. Mrs. Celia, she asked when the cook came in, did you see my lunchbox? I didn't see anything. And look, if I were you, I wouldn't leave food in the house fridge. It's not your place. Valentina didn't respond. She ate cookies with tea that day. The following days were worse. Constant small cruelties. Someone let her bucket spill on the floor she had just cleaned. They hid the cleaning supplies. They rang her room's bell in the middle of the night and ran away. Valentina endured everything in silence. She did the work, kept her distance from everyone, survived. Sophia was the only one who still treated her normally. But the girl had also changed. She spent more time in her room again. She started having nightmares again. One day, Valentina was cleaning the hallway when she heard voices coming from the kitchen. Mrs. Celia was speaking loudly on the phone. Yes, my daughter. I wouldn't let someone like that near the food. Who guarantees she won't steal? Or worse, put something in the food? People like that have no scruples. Valentina felt her throat close up. She went back to the little room and sat on the bed. She looked around. That tiny room had become a home. It wasn't much, but it was hers. It had safety. It had Sofia. It had the hope of finding Daniel. Now she was going to lose everything. She picked up her phone and opened the old photo of her brother from the orphanage. Daniel was smiling, with a patched shirt and messy hair. "I'm sorry, Danny. I tried. I tried to help your brother find you, but it didn't work. I'm not strong enough." She lay on her side and hugged the pillow. She didn't cry. She had no more tears. Just exhaustion. Exhaustion from fighting. Exhaustion from trying to prove she was good enough. Exhaustion from a world that always put her in the same place. Downstairs. Alone. Disposable. 3 days had passed since the confrontation with Amanda. Murilo had spent that time locked in the office, torn between the investigation into Daniel and the confusion in his own mind. The investigator had called with news. He had managed to locate the retired social worker who had worked in the area of the orphanage 20 years ago. The man agreed to talk. It was a good lead, perhaps the best so far. But Murilo could barely concentrate, because every time he thought of Daniel, he thought of Valentina, of the accusations, of the doubt that Amanda had planted and that was growing like a disease. On Thursday morning, he made a decision. He called Valentina into the office. She entered in her impeccable uniform, hair tied back, posture straight, but her eyes had deep, dark circles. She had lost weight. "You can sit." She sat on the edge of the chair, hands in her lap. Murilo took a deep breath. "I have been thinking for the last few days about everything that happened, about Amanda's accusations, about that lawsuit." Valentina waited in silence. "I believe in you. About the theft, I mean. I think it was really that boss's setup." She let out the breath she had been holding, but she felt her heart sink. "But I need to think about Sofia. She was very shaken by all this, and I realize something that worries me." "What?" "She is very attached to you. She calls you my Val. She doesn't want anyone else to take care of her. She doesn't want anyone else to be near her. That's not bad. She's opening up again. But what if you leave one day? What if you need to go, look for another job, another city? Sofia will suffer again. It will be like losing her mother once more." Valentina understood where he was going. "You want me to leave soon, so she doesn't suffer so much later?" "No. I want you to stay. But I need you to keep your distance." "What kind of distance?" He went to the window, unable to look at her while he spoke. "You do the cleaning work. That's it. No spending time with Sofia, no making bread together, no notes, no conversations. Just the work. Just the work. It's better this way. For everyone." Valentina ficou em silêncio. Quando falou, a voz saiu baixa mas firme. "Posso fazer uma pergunta?" "Pode. O senhor está mesmo preocupado com o apego da Sofia? Ou está com medo do Mr. próprio apego?" Murilo se virou para ela. "Como assim?" A Sofia melhorou. Voltou a rir, a comer, a viver. Mas agora que Amanda plantou dúvida na sua cabeça, o senhor está com medo. Medo de confiar em mim. Medo de se aproximar, então está usando a Sofia de desculpa. E eu não estou usando nada de desculpa. Não. Então por que não me defendeu quando a Amanda me humilhou na frente de todo mundo? Por que deixou ela falar aquelas coisas sem fazer nada? E eu mandei ela embora? Depois que o estrago já estava feito. Quando eu precisei, o senhor ficou em silêncio. Os dois ficaram se olhando. O peso das palavras não ditas preenchia o espaço entre eles. "Só faz o que eu pedi", Murilo disse, a voz mais baixa. "Por favor." Ela se levantou. "I will do it, but it's not for Sofia, it's because I need the job. But you need to know one thing." "What?" "Deep down, you don't believe me. You want to believe. You're trying to convince yourself. But the doubt is there. And as long as it's there, it doesn't matter what I do. I will always be the poor cleaner who could be a liar. That's not true. It is, and both of you know that. She left the office. Murilo was left alone, her words echoing in the empty room. In the afternoon, Sofia came down looking for Valentina. She found her cleaning the bathroom on the second floor. "Val, let's make cookies." Valentina stopped scrubbing the toilet. She turned around, her heart tightening at the sight of the hopeful little girl. "I can't today, Sophie. I have a lot of work. Tomorrow then?" "Tomorrow I can't either. I'm going to be very busy from now on." Sophia frowned. "But we always do things together." "I know, but your father thinks it's better for me to just work, without doing other things." "Why? Was it because of that ugly woman?" Valentina almost smiled. "Almost. Your father just wants to protect you. He is afraid you will be sad if I leave one day. But you are not leaving. You promised." Valentina knelt in front of the girl. She gently held her little shoulders. "Sometimes we can't keep promises, love. Not because we don't want to, but because the world complicates things." "Did you do something wrong?" "No, I didn't do anything wrong." "Then why is my dad being annoying with you?" "He is not being annoying. He is just scared. And when we are scared, sometimes we do things that are not right." Sophia looked at her with teary eyes. "Are you going to leave like my mom did?" Valentina pulled the girl into a tight hug. "Your mom didn't want to leave, Sophie. She wanted to stay with you forever. Sometimes life takes people away from us, but it's not because they wanted to go." "And you? Do you want to stay?" Valentina couldn't respond, because she didn't know anymore. She didn't know if she had the strength to stay in a place where she wasn't welcome, where she was only tolerated. Sophia noticed the silence. She released herself from the hug, her eyes filled with tears. "You're leaving. Everyone is leaving." She ran out. Valentina heard the quick footsteps on the stairs, the bedroom door slamming. She stayed there, kneeling on the bathroom floor, the cleaning brush still in her hand. Another broken promise, another hurt child. That night, Murilo tried to talk to Sophia, but the girl locked the door. "Sweetheart, open the door for me." "Go away. We need to talk about Valentina." "I don't want to talk to you. You're mean." Murilo pressed his forehead against the door. "I'm trying to protect you." "You're lying. You're just scared, just like you were scared when Mommy died." The words hit like a punch. "Sophia, it's not like that. Yes, you were scared and stopped being close to me. Now you're afraid of Val and telling her to stay away." Murilo didn't know what to say, because she was right. He went down the stairs slowly. The house was silent, a heavy silence. He passed through the kitchen. Valentina was washing the dishes from the dinner that no one had eaten. "She didn't want to have dinner again, did she?" Valentina asked without looking. "No. She will be fine. The children are strong." Murilo stood still at the door. "And you? Will you be okay?" Valentina turned off the faucet. She dried her hands slowly. "I always am. We always are, those of us who come from the orphanage. Because if we aren't okay, there's no one to take care of us." She turned around. "Good night, sir." She passed by him and went up to the little room. Murilo was left alone in the kitchen. The sink was empty. The house was empty. The heart was empty. He had achieved what he wanted. He had created distance. He had protected himself and his daughter from the danger of getting too attached. But why did it seem like she had lost something important, something she might never be able to recover? Amanda had planned every detail. Being expelled from the mansion had been humiliating, but it hadn't ended her. On the contrary, it had made her more determined. 2 days after the confrontation with Murilo, she put her plan into action. On a Tuesday morning, she waited for Mrs. Celia to leave for shopping and followed her to the market. "Mrs. Celia, what a coincidence!" The cook turned around. She looked embarrassed. "Mrs. Amanda, how are you? Can I talk to you for a minute?" "It's important." The two went to the market cafe. Amanda ordered 2 espressos. "How are things at home?" Complicated. The girl is still there. Mr. Murillo made some rules. She can't be near Sofia anymore. But she still works there. And how is Sofia? She has gone back to being closed up in her room. She doesn't eat properly. She's just like before Valentina arrived. Amanda shook her head, pretending to be concerned. It's so sad. And the worst part is that no one is sure of her character, right? Mrs. Celia lowered her voice. That's right. That lawsuit left me with a nagging feeling. Amanda leaned forward. Look, I didn't want to say this, but you need to know I did some deeper research on her. And? The family that accused her of theft? They were right. I found evidence. But the case was archived because she fled before being judged. She changed cities, changed everything. My God. Amanda took an envelope out of her bag. Inside were copies of supposed testimonies, photos of the necklace that had disappeared. Look here, this is the necklace she stole. It was family heirloom. Genuine gold. The boss was devastated. Mrs. Celia looked at the photos, horrified. And does Mr. Murillo know about this? No, he didn't want to listen. He's blind to it. Amanda put the envelope away. That's why I'm worried. If she stole before, she could steal again. What, for example? The jewelry of his deceased wife, the ones that are kept in the bedroom. Mrs. Celia was deep in thought. But she cleans that room every week. If she were going to steal, she would have already done it. Amanda gave a sad smile. Or she's waiting for the right moment. You know how it is, a clever thief doesn't steal on the first day, they wait to gain trust. Then they take the most valuable piece and disappear. She planted the seed, now it was just a matter of waiting for it to grow. 2 days later, Amanda called home. Mrs. Celia answered. Mrs. Celia, how are you? Look, I was thinking here, have you checked the jewelry of Murillo's late wife? Just to make sure everything is there. No. Why? It's just that I felt a tightness in my heart. What if Valentina has already taken something? It would be horrible to find out too late. Mrs. Celia hesitated. I don't know if I should mess with Mr. Murillo's things. You're not going to mess with them. You're just going to look, to make sure. If everything is there, great. If something is missing, you let him know. It's your duty, Celia. You've worked there for years. You have to protect the house. The cook hung up, her heart racing. She waited for Murillo to leave for the restaurant. She went up to his room. She opened the drawer where he kept the jewelry box of his late wife. Everything was very organized. The earrings, the rings, the bracelets. She counted the pieces. Checked again. Everything was there, except for the necklace. The gold necklace with the heart pendant that his wife always wore. The last gift Murillo had given her. It was gone. Mrs. Celia felt her blood run cold. She quickly closed the drawer. She called Amanda. The necklace is missing. Amanda pretended to be perfectly surprised. I knew it. I knew it would happen. Did you tell Murillo? Not yet. He's at the restaurant. Tell him, now. And, look, I know it's difficult, but it would be good to check her room before she hides it somewhere else or sells it. I can't do that. It would be an invasion of privacy. Then ask Murillo to do it. But quickly, Celia, before it's too late. What Mrs. Celia didn't know was that Amanda had entered the mansion 3 days earlier. In the early morning. She had a copy of the key she had taken months ago, when she was still welcome in the house. She had stolen the necklace from Murillo's room. She had gone up to Valentina's little room, and she had planted the necklace inside the old makeup case that was on the nightstand, an obvious enough place. But that was the plan. To make it seem like Valentina was so arrogant that she didn't even bother to hide it properly. When Murillo got home at night, Mrs. Celia was waiting for him at the door. Mr. Murillo, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. He was tired. He had spent the whole day solving problems at the restaurant. What is it? It's about the necklace of your late wife. What necklace? That gold one, with a heart. You kept it in the drawer. And so? It's gone. Murillo froze. What do you mean gone? I checked the drawer today. Everything is there, except for the necklace. It must have fallen. It must be somewhere else. No, sir, I know that drawer. I clean it every week. The necklace was there last week. Now it's not. Murillo ran up the stairs. He opened the drawer. He rummaged through everything. He threw the little boxes on the floor. He grabbed the earrings, the rings, searching. The necklace was not there. It was the last physical reminder of his wife, the piece she loved the most, the gift he had chosen with such care. And it was gone. Mrs. Celia appeared at the door. Sir, I don't want to accuse anyone, but the only person who enters this room besides you is Valentina. Murillo closed his eyes. He didn't want to believe it, but the doubt was there, and it was stronger than the desire to trust. Where is her room? On the 3rd floor. But sir... He passed by Mrs. Celia and ran up the stairs, his heart racing, anger and fear mixing. He knocked on the little room's door. Valentina opened it. She had just taken a shower. Her hair was wet, wearing a simple pajamas. Sir? Is everything okay? I need to enter your room. Now? Now. She stepped back, confused. Murillo entered. He looked around. The tiny little room, the bed made, a few clothes, everything very simple. What are you looking for? A necklace, gold, with a heart pendant. Valentina felt the air leave her. I don't have any necklace. He started to search, opened her backpack. Only old clothes, a worn-out book, the old photo of Daniel. Murillo, please, I didn't take anything, I swear. He opened the drawer of the nightstand, nothing but socks and a few pieces of underwear. He looked under the bed, nothing. He was about to give up when he saw the old case on top of the nightstand. Small, faded pink plastic, the kind of things someone had used for years and didn't throw away. He picked up the case. Sir, that's mine, there's no... He opened it. And there, among old lipstick and a broken blush, was the necklace. Murillo held the piece, his heart racing, wishing it were a mistake, that there was some explanation. He looked at Valentina. She was pale, her hands trembling, her eyes wide with shock. I didn't put that there. Someone put it there. I swear someone put it there. How did it get here then? I don't know, but I didn't take it. Why would I take it? For what? Murillo tightened the necklace in his hand. I believed in you. I gave you a job when no one else would. I let you be close to my daughter, and you steal from me? I didn't steal. The necklace was in your room. Because someone put it here. Think, Mr. Murillo, why would I hide it in such an obvious place? If I were a thief, I would have hidden it better. He stopped. That made sense. It was too obvious, too stupid. But the anger was stronger than reason. Get your things and leave. Now. What? Get out of my house. Now. Before I call the police. Valentina started to cry. Please, give me a chance. Let me prove it. Let me find out who did this. No, I've given too many chances already. Tears were streaming down her face now. You don't trust me. You never really did. Pack your things. He left the room. He slammed the door. He went down the stairs. He locked himself in the office. He held the necklace so tightly that it hurt his hand. He wanted to feel relief for having recovered it. He wanted to feel anger for having been robbed. But he only felt emptiness. Because deep down, a small voice said he had made a mistake. But it was too late to listen. Valentina packed her backpack with hands trembling so much that she could barely fold the clothes. She put away everything she had, which was almost nothing. The 3 pieces of clothing, the worn-out book, the old photo of Daniel. She sat on the bed, she looked around. That little room had become a home. For the first time in her adult life, she had a place that was hers, where she could sleep without fear, where she woke up with hope. Now she was going to lose everything. Mrs. Celia appeared at the door. You better go soon, Mr. Murillo is very upset. I didn't do anything, Mrs. Celia. You have to believe me. The cook looked away. I believed you. I defended you to the other staff when they spoke badly. And look what happened. Please, someone set this up. Someone put the necklace in my room. If someone put it there, you'll have to prove it. But now, it's better to leave. Valentina grabbed her backpack. She went down the stairs. She was almost at the door when Sofia appeared at the top of the stairs. Val? What are you doing? Valentina stopped. She couldn't look at the girl. I need to go, Sophie. Go where? Far away. Why? What happened? Because sometimes things don't work out, and we have to leave. Sofia started running down the stairs. No, you promised you would stay. Valentina knelt down. She held the girl's little shoulders. I know I promised. But sometimes we can't keep our promises. Why? Did you do something bad? No, I didn't do anything bad. Then why do you have to go? Valentina didn't know how to explain that the world was unfair. That sometimes you didn't do anything wrong but still lost everything. Your father thinks I did something I didn't do, and he doesn't believe me. But I believe in you. I know, love, I know. He hugged the girl tightly, tried to capture that moment. The smell of children's shampoo, the way Sofia squeezed the teddy bear with one arm and her with the other. You are the most special girl I have ever met. Never forget that. You promised you would stay. You promised! Valentina let go, stood up. She couldn't stay any longer. She had no strength. Opened the door. Val, come back! Please, come back! Went down the entrance steps. Heard Sofia crying, shouting, Val, don't go! I'll be good! I'll do everything right! Just don't go! Valentina kept walking. Each step hurt more than the last. The tears blurred her vision. Turned the corner, heard Sofia's voice getting farther away. Val! And then silence. Stopped in a square 3 blocks away. Sat on a bench. It was almost 9 at night. Cold. It was starting to rain. She picked up the phone. There were $120 in the account. That was all. She had nowhere to go. She didn't know anyone in the city. The phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Valentina? It's Sister Madeline. The nun's voice made the rest of the armor crumble. Valentina began to sob. Sister, what happened, daughter? And she told everything. Between sobs. About the mansion. About Sofia. About the accusations. About the necklace. About losing everything. Where are you now? In a square. I don't know the name. Send me your location. I'll send someone to pick you up. You can't stay on the street. Half an hour later, Father Zhao appeared. He took her to a church shelter. Simple, clean, safe. You can stay here while you sort things out. Valentina thanked him. She took a hot shower. Wore clean, donated clothes. Laid down on a narrow bed. But she couldn't sleep. She kept staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything she had lost. The job. The house. Sofia. And worse, the chance to help Murillo find Daniel. They were so close. The investigator had good leads. Now she would never know. She turned to the side, hugged the pillow, let the tears soak the fabric. In the mansion, Sofia couldn't stop crying. Murillo tried to talk to her, but the girl locked the door and shouted for him to go away. He went down to the office, opened the drawer, took the necklace. It was beautiful, delicate. His wife wore it every day. She said it was the symbol of their love. Now it was back, but it brought no relief, just a huge emptiness. Because deep down, he knew he had made a terrible mistake. But it was too late to turn back. 3 days passed. Sofia didn't leave the room. She didn't eat, barely drank water. Murilo tried everything. He brought her plate, apologized, explained why he had sent Valentina away. Nothing worked. On the morning of the fourth day, he heard a strange noise. He ran upstairs, broke down the door. Sofia was in the corner of the room, crouched, hugging the teddy bear, rocking back and forth, her eyes glazed over, seeing nothing. "Daughter? Sofia?" She didn't respond, didn't blink, kept rocking. Murilo picked her up. She was cold, shaking. Took her to the hospital. The doctors examined her, asked questions, took blood. A dissociative crisis, the doctor explained. Her body shut down emotions as a form of protection. It's common in children who have suffered repeated trauma. Is she going to be okay? Yes, but she will need intensive follow-up, therapy, possibly medication, and you will need to identify what caused the crisis. Murilo knew what had caused it. He had caused it. Sofia was hospitalized for observation. Murilo spent the night in the room with her, held her little hand, apologized silently. The next day, when she woke up, she looked at her father with empty eyes. "Where's Val?" "She left." "Because you sent her away." "Yes." Sofia turned her face away. "You're mean." The words hurt, but he deserved it. "Daughter, Go away. I don't want you here. I just wanted to protect you. You didn't protect me. You sent away the only person who helped me." Sofia closed her eyes. A tear fell. "Everyone leaves. Mom left. Val left. One day you will too, and I will be alone." Murilo felt his chest tighten. "I will never leave you. You already did. You left when you stopped playing with me after Mom died. You left when you made Val stay away from me. You always leave." He had no answer, because she was right. He left the room, sat in the hallway, called the investigator about Daniel just to distract himself. "Mr. Cardoso, I managed to talk to the social worker. He remembers the case. There is important information. Can you wait a few days? I'm having a problem here." "Of course. But sir, the leads are good. I think we are close to finding your brother." Murilo hung up. He should be happy, excited. But he only felt empty. Because what was the point of finding the brother if she had lost everything that mattered in the process? Sofia was discharged the next day. She returned home quietly. The doctors had prescribed medication and therapy sessions 3 times a week. Murilo hired a nurse, a serious, competent woman who took care of Sofia professionally but without affection. The girl did not react to anything. She ate because she was told to. She bathed because she was forced to. She existed because she had no choice. At night, Murilo tried to talk, but she pretended to be asleep. A week later, Sofia had her first therapy session. When she returned, Murilo asked how it went. "The doctor is nice. And what did you talk about?" "About you." "About me?" She said that sometimes adults do the wrong thing because they are scared. And when we are scared, we hurt those we love without meaning to. Murilo swallowed hard. "And do you think that's it? That I'm scared?" Sofia looked at him. "You are. You were scared when Mommy died. You were afraid to be close to me because I remind you of her. Then you were afraid of Val. Now you are alone. And so am I." She turned and went up to the room. Murilo stayed there, his 7-year-old daughter's words cutting deeper than any accusation. Because she was right. He was so afraid of suffering that he had pushed everyone away, and in the end, fear had only brought more suffering. Sofia wasn't getting better. The therapy sessions helped a little, but she remained distant, apathetic. On a Thursday afternoon, 2 weeks after Valentina left, Sofia was in her room. The nurse had gone to the bathroom. She looked at the old cell phone her mother had given her. It had been months since she used it. She turned it on. It still worked. She had an idea. If her father wasn't going to get Valentina, She would find out the truth on her own. She waited for the nurse to leave at the end of the day. She went down to the office. Her father was in the kitchen making coffee. She entered slowly, went to the table. There were papers scattered around, things from Uncle Daniel's investigation. But that wasn't what she was looking for. She opened the first drawer. Pens, notepads. Opened the second. Company documents. The third had a jewelry box. She opened it. There was the necklace. The necklace that had caused everything. She looked at the piece. It was beautiful. Delicate. Why would Valentina steal this? She never wore jewelry. Never talked about money. It didn't make sense. She closed the drawer. Went up to her father's room. Opened the nightstand. Inside was his old cell phone, the one he used before buying the new one. She picked it up. Took it to her room. Turned it on. It still worked. But the battery was weak. She opened the call history. Scrolled back. To the day the necklace had gone missing. She saw the name. Amanda. 3 calls that day. She wrote down the times on a piece of paper. Had another idea. Remembered her mother's drawer, where she kept old things. She went to her parents' old room. Opened the drawer. Inside there were photos, letters, and a small box with old jewelry. She rummaged through the box. At the bottom she found something strange. A folded piece of paper, very small. She opened it. It was a yellow post-it, with handwriting she didn't recognize. Final phase. Take the necklace from his room, plant it in her room, do it in the early hours of Thursday. Sophia kept staring at the paper. She read it again and again. Someone had written a plan to set up Valentina. She carefully stored the paper. She gathered it with Amanda's call notes. Now she had evidence. Not complete, but she had it. She went to the office. Her father was there, reviewing documents. She knocked on the door. "Daughter, come in." She entered, closed the door, placed the papers on the table. "What is this?" Quote, "Evidence." Murillo took the post-it, read it, turned pale. "Where did you find this?" Quote, "In Mom's drawer. Someone hid it there." Quote, "That doesn't prove it was Amanda." Sophia placed the other paper. With the calls, she called 3 times on the day the necklace went missing. She talked to Mrs. Celia, told her to look for the necklace. She set everything up. Murillo looked at the papers, the handwriting on the post-it, the calls. It could be a coincidence. It could be forgery. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. You sent Val away because you thought she stole, but she didn't steal. That lying woman did everything. Daughter, No. Sophia shook her head. You were wrong. You didn't believe in Val. Now you have to fix it. How? By going to get her, apologizing, making her come back. And what if she doesn't want to come back? Sophia looked at her father, her little eyes hard. Then you lose us. You lose her, and you stay alone, because I won't live with you if you don't go get her. It was an ultimatum. From a 7-year-old girl. But it meant more than any adult's threat. Because it came from the heart. Murillo looked at his daughter. He saw determination there, strength, the same strength her mother had. You are right, I was wrong. Then fix it. He nodded. I will fix it, I promise. Sophia left the office. Murillo was left alone with the papers. He picked up the cell phone. He called Amanda. She answered excitedly. Murillo, what a surprise! We need to talk. About what? About the necklace you planted in Valentina's room. Silence on the other side. I don't know what you're talking about. I have proof, Amanda. Your calls, the note, everything. Another silence. Then, you can't prove anything. I can, and I will. I will show it to the police. I will sue you for invasion, for planting false evidence, for everything. Her voice turned cold. You won't do that. I will, unless you confess. Now. She laughed, a bitter laugh. Okay, I confess. I set everything up. I planted the false process. I planted the necklace. I destroyed her life. And do you know why? Because you are mine. You always were. And I wasn't going to let a lazy maid steal you from me. I was never yours. And you just lost any chance you had. He hung up, blocked the number. He sat in the chair, his heart racing. There was the confession, there was the evidence. He knew the truth. Now there was only one thing left: to find Valentina and beg for forgiveness. Murilo hung up the phone with trembling hands. Amanda's confession still echoed in his head. She had set everything up, destroyed Valentina's life out of pure selfishness. And he had believed it. He sat in the office chair, picked up the phone again, opened the recording app. It was all there, every word Amanda had said. I set everything up. I planted the false lawsuit. I planted the necklace. Concrete evidence, irrefutable. Sophia appeared at the door. Did you get it? I did. She confessed everything. And now? Now I'm going to get Valentina. The girl gave a small smile. The first in weeks. Can I come along? Sure. Murilo grabbed his coat, stopped before leaving, called Mrs. Celia. The cook answered nervously. Mr. Murilo? Mrs. Celia, Valentina didn't steal anything. It was all Amanda's setup. She confessed. Silence on the other end. My God, I helped do this with the girl. I went to the drawer to look for the necklace because Amanda told me to. You didn't know. You were manipulated just like I was. But I should have suspected. I should have defended her. We all should have. Murilo took a deep breath. I'm going to get her now. When I come back, we'll talk. He hung up. He took Sophia by the hand. The two left the mansion. There's just one problem, Sophia said on the way. What? We don't know where she is. Murilo stopped. The girl was right. Valentina had left without leaving an address, without saying where she was going. He took out his phone, looked for the number Valentina had given when she started working. He called. Rang, went to voicemail. Tried again. Same thing. He thought, where would she go? She had no family, she had no friends in the city. Then he remembered. The orphanage. She had grown up in the Santa Clara orphanage. Maybe someone there would know where she was. He got into the car with Sophia. He headed to the address he had in the investigation files about Daniel. The building was abandoned. Rusty bars, broken windows, weeds growing in the cracks of the concrete. Damn. And now, Dad, Murilo thought. He called the investigator. Paulo, do you have contact with someone who worked at the Santa Clara orphanage? Yes, I do. Sister Madeline. She coordinated the place. Now she works at a church shelter. Give me the contact. Minutes later, Murilo was calling the nun. Hello? Sister Madeline? My name is Murilo Cardoso. I need to find Valentina Costa Silva. It's urgent. The nun's voice became stern. You are the man who sent her away accused of theft. I was. But I was wrong. I have proof it was a setup. I need to apologize to her. Silence. Then, how do I know you won't hurt her again? Because my daughter is here by my side. And she wouldn't let that happen. Sophia, say hi. Sophia took the phone. Hi, I'm Sophia. Val is my friend. My dad did something wrong, but now he wants to fix it. Please, help us. The nun sighed. Valentina is at the St. Joseph House, Acacia Street, 342. But if you hurt her again, you'll have to answer to me and to God. I won't hurt her, I promise. Half an hour later, Murilo stopped in front of an old but well-kept mansion. There was a sign, St. Joseph Reception House. He got out of the car with Sophia. He rang the doorbell. A woman in her 50s answered. Can I help you? I need to talk to Valentina. It's urgent. The woman looked at him suspiciously. Are you her boss? I was. But I need to talk to her. Please. The woman hesitated. But Sofia stepped forward. "Please, ma'am. I'm her friend. I just want to see her." The woman's expression softened when she saw the child. "Wait here." She went inside. She returned 5 minutes later. "Valentina doesn't want to come down. She said she has nothing to say to you." Mirlo felt his chest tighten. "Can I tell her that I have proof? Proof that she was set up, that I know the truth. I will say it." The woman went up again. She stayed up there for a while. When she came back, Valentina was behind her. She slowly descended the stairs. She looked thinner. Her face was tired. Her eyes lacked shine. When she saw Sofia, she stopped halfway down the stairs. "Sophie! Val!" Sofia let go of her father's hand and ran. She climbed the steps. She hugged Valentina tightly. "You came back!" Valentina hugged the girl. She closed her eyes. She let that hug heal a bit of the pain. When she released her, she looked at Mirlo. Her expression was stern. "What do you want?" "To apologize." He climbed a few steps. He stopped close enough to talk, far enough to respect her space. "I was wrong. I was very wrong. I believed Amanda's lies. I believed you had stolen. But I was mistaken." He took his phone out of his pocket. He pressed play on the recording. Amanda's voice came out of the device, clear, confessing everything. Valentina listened in silence. When she finished, she looked at him. "That doesn't change anything." "It does change something. It proves that you are innocent." "I have always been innocent. But you didn't believe me when I needed it. You believe me now because there is a recording, because there is proof." "I know, and I am very sorry." "I'm sorry is not enough." She started to go back up. "Valentina, wait." She stopped, but she didn't turn around. "I have no excuse. I was cowardly. I was afraid to trust, afraid of getting hurt again. And in the end, I hurt you. I hurt Sofia. I hurt myself." Valentina stood still, with her back turned. "I spent my whole life being judged. In the orphanage, at jobs, everywhere. They always thought I was less, that I didn't deserve trust. And I accepted it because I had no choice." She turned slowly. "But in your house, it was different. For the first time, I thought I had found a place where I could just be me, where I didn't have to prove anything. And then you did, just like the others. You judged me, you condemned me, you threw me away." Tears began to fall. "So no, Mr. Murillo, I'm sorry is not enough. Because you broke the only thing I had, the hope that someone would believe in me." Murillo stepped up another step. "You are right, I broke your trust. But I want to fix it, not because I have a recording, but because without you, we are no longer a family. I am no longer me." Valentina shook her head. "I can't go back. I can't work in a place where they don't trust me. So don't come back as an employee. Come back as part of the family. Come back because Sofia needs you. Because I need you." Sofia pulled Valentina's hand. "Please, Val, I was very sad without you. I even got sick. The doctor said I had a crisis. I don't eat right. I can't be happy. Only you make me happy." Valentina knelt in front of the girl. "You don't need me, Sophie. You are strong. You will be okay." "I won't. Not without you." Valentina looked into the child's eyes. She saw pain there, real pain. She looked at Murillo. He was there, vulnerable, with red eyes. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Scared of going back and having everything happen again. Of you doubting me at the first difficulty. It won't happen, I promise." "How can I believe that?" "Because I will spend the rest of my life proving it. Proving that I trust you, that I believe in you, that you are not just important to Sofia, you are important to me." Valentina wiped her tears. "And Amanda? I will sue. For everything. Invasion, defamation, planting evidence. She will pay for what she did. And the staff, Mrs. Celia, Mr. Jorge, they treated me very badly. I will talk to each one. I will explain everything. And if someone doesn't accept it, they won't work there anymore." Valentina fell silent. Her heart told her to go back, but her head screamed to protect herself. Sofia held her face with her little hands. Please, I promise I'll be very good. I'll eat everything. I'll go to bed early. I'll do everything you say. Just come back. Valentina laughed through her tears. You're already good, Sophie. You don't need to promise anything. So you'll come back? She looked at Murillo. If I come back, I won't come back as a cleaner. I know. And I won't come back just for Sofia. I come back because I want to too. Because that house became my home, and you all became my family. Murillo climbed the last step. He stood in front of her. Then come back. Please, come back home. Valentina took a deep breath. Okay, I'll come back. Sofia shouted with joy. She hugged Valentina and her father at the same time. The three of them stood there, embraced in the middle of the stairs. The woman who had answered the door watched from a distance, smiling. Valentina wiped her face. She looked at Murillo. But one thing, if one day you doubt me again, if you let anyone plant doubt in your head, I will leave, and I won't come back. That won't happen, I swear. She nodded. Then let's go home. On the way back, Sofia was chattering in the back seat. She was telling everything that had happened in the 2 weeks Valentina had been away. I got sick, Val. I had to go to the hospital. But now I'm better. The doctor helped me. And I found out where Amanda hid the evidence. You found out? By myself. Well, almost by myself. My dad helped me a little bit. Murillo smiled through the rearview mirror. Just a little bit. The credit is all hers. When they arrived at the mansion, Mrs. Celia was at the door. When she saw Valentina getting out of the car, she ran. Girl, I'm so sorry, so sorry. She hugged Valentina tightly. She was crying. Forgive me, I was an idiot. I believed that snake. I made you suffer. Valentina hugged her back. It's okay, Mrs. Celia. It wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. I should have believed you. I should have defended you. The two stood there, hugging, crying. Mr. Jorge appeared from the garden. He came slowly, his cap in his hands. Miss Valentina, I also apologize. I was very rude to you. I shouldn't have. Valentina gave a tired smile. You're forgiven, Mr. Jorge. Really? Really? The gardener quickly wiped his eyes and went back to work. Sofia pulled Valentina by the hand. Come on, come see my room. I arranged everything the way you like it. The two ran upstairs. Murillo stayed there watching them go away, feeling his heart lighter than it had been in months. Mrs. Celia approached. You did the right thing by going to get her. I only did what I should have done from the beginning. Believe in her. Better late than never. He nodded. He entered the mansion, went to the office. He picked up his phone, called his lawyer. Dr. Marcello, I need to sue someone. For breaking and entering, defamation, planting false evidence, and emotional damages. Who? Amanda Ferreira, and I have a recording of her confessing everything. An hour later, the lawyer was there. He listened to the recording. Read the papers that Sofia had found. It's a winning case, Murillo. With this evidence, she's going to pay dearly. I want the maximum the law allows. I want her to understand that she can't destroy people's lives without consequences. I'm going to file the lawsuit tomorrow. When the lawyer left, Murillo went upstairs. He stopped at Sofia's bedroom door. Valentina was sitting on the bed. Sofia was showing all the drawings she had made in the last few weeks. Sad drawings. Lonely people. Dark colors. I made this one the day you left. I'm alone. I'm cold. Valentina held the drawing carefully. You draw very well, Sophie. The doctor said that drawing helps when we're sad. And did it help? A little bit. But not as much as you coming back. The two smiled. Murillo knocked on the door. Can I come in? Sofia nodded. He entered. He sat in the armchair near the bed. Val, I wanted to talk about something. Go ahead. About Daniel. The investigation. We were close to finding him before all this happened. The investigator has good leads. Valentina became serious. And do you want to keep searching? I do, but only if you want to. You were the one who told me about him. You kept him alive in memory when no one else remembered, so this search is ours, both of us. She felt her eyes burn. I want to. I really want to find him. Then we will find him, together. Sophia raised her hand. And me, I will help too. The three laughed. That night, Valentina had dinner with them for the first time, not as an employee. She sat at the table, talked, laughed. Mrs. Celia made Sophia's favorite dish, pasta with tomato sauce and cheese. The girl ate everything, even had seconds. Murillo looked at his daughter, then at Valentina. Thank you. For coming back. For giving another chance. Valentina gave a little smile. Thank you for coming to get me, for believing. I will always believe. From now on, always. After dinner, Sophia asked Valentina to tuck her in. The two went upstairs. Valentina helped the girl brush her teeth. She put on her pajamas, covered her in bed. Val? Hi. You're not leaving again, right? Even if my dad does something silly? I'm not. I promise. This time, it's a real promise. Sophia hugged the teddy bear and closed her eyes, smiling. Valentina turned off the light. She left the room. She found Murillo in the hallway. Did she sleep? She did, finally at peace. The two stood there, still in the hallway. Valentina, You don't need to say anything more. You've already apologized. You've shown that you regret it. Now it's just about moving forward. Murillo took a step forward. But I need to talk. Because it's not just about apologizing. It's about something else. What? When you left, I realized something. I realized that it wasn't just for Sophia that I wanted you back. It was for me too. Because without you, I couldn't breathe properly. I couldn't think straight. It was like there was a hole in my chest. Valentina stood still, her heart racing. Eu sei que é cedo. Sei que eu não tenho direito de falar isso depois de tudo. Mas eu preciso que você saiba. Eu me apaixonei por você. Pela sua força. Pela sua gentileza. Pela forma como você transformou essa casa. Transformou a Sofia. Me transformou. Ela não sabia o que dizer. Não precisa responder agora. Não precisa responder nunca se não quiser. Só precisava que você soubesse. Ela ia virar para sair quando ela segurou o braço dele. Murilo. Ela parou. Eu também senti essa falta. Não sou da casa. Não sou da Sofia. De você. Do jeito que você olha para mim. Do jeito que me faz sentir importante. Você é importante. Eu sei. Agora eu sei. Ela deu passo à frente. Ficou perto dele. Mas eu tenho medo. Medo de me machucar de novo. Medo de me apegar e perder. Eu também tenho medo. Mas talvez a gente possa ter medo junto. Devagar, sem pressa. Ela sorriu. Devagar, sem pressa. Ele sorriu de volta. Ficaram ali, olhando um para o outro, o corredor silencioso ao redor. Foi Valentina quem se aproximou primeiro. Devagar. Deu beijo leve na bochecha dele. Boa noite, Murilo. Boa noite, Val. Ela foi pro quartinho dela. Mas dessa vez, não era o quartinho de empregada. Era o quarto de hóspede no segundo andar. O que Murilo tinha preparado para ela. Deitou na cama confortável. Cobriu-se com um edredom macio. E pela primeira vez em 2 semanas, dormiu em paz. Os dias seguintes foram de reconstrução. Valentina voltou a fazer parte da rotina da casa. Mas não como funcionária. Como parte da família. Ajudava na cozinha quando queria. Brincava com Sofia. Conversava com Murilo sobre a investigação de Daniel. Mas ainda tinha feridas. Ainda tinha medo. Uma manhã, Sofia pediu para fazer biscoitos. Valentina concordou. As duas estavam na cozinha quando tocou a campainha. Mrs. Célia foi atender. Voltou com o entregador. Tinha uma caixa grande. É pro Sr. Murilo, mas ele não tá. Pode assinar? Valentina ia assinar quando hesitou. Melhor esperar ele voltar. But it's just a signature, miss. I know, but I prefer not to mess with his things. Sophia noticed. When the delivery person left, she pulled Valentina's hand. You're still afraid my dad won't believe you, right? A little bit. But he promised. I know, but we only believe promises when we see them happen. At night, Murillo arrived and saw the box. Why didn't you sign? Mrs. Celia explained. He looked at Valentina. You don't need to be afraid to sign things. I know, but I prefer to take it slow, until I trust again. He nodded, understanding. It's okay, in your own time. Once again, Murillo asked Valentina to accompany him to a meeting with the investigator. It was about Daniel. They met at a cafe. The investigator brought documents, old photos, a marked map. Mr. Cardoso, I managed to locate the social worker who handled your brother's case. He remembers everything. He said that a couple adopted the boy illegally. The couple lived in Campinas. They died in an accident when the boy was 9 years old. That's when he ended up in the orphanage. Valentina confirmed. That matches what I know. Daniel arrived at 9 years old. He said his parents had died. And there's more, the investigator continued. I managed to track down Daniel's friends after he ran away from the orphanage. One of them said he worked as a kitchen helper in a restaurant in Belo Horizonte. That was about 10 years ago. Murillo leaned forward. Is he still there? No, he stayed for about 3 years. Then he left. But I got the name of the restaurant. I'll call to see if anyone knows where he went. Valentina held Murillo's hand under the table. He squeezed back. We're close, she whispered. Very close. But the search was still going to take time. The investigator needed to follow every lead, talk to every person, piece things together slowly. Meanwhile, life went on. Valentina started therapy, once a week. The therapist helped her process the traumas, to understand that what had happened was not her fault. Murillo also went back to therapy. He was working on the fear of trusting, the fear of losing, the grief for his wife that had not yet been fully processed. And Sophia continued with her sessions. The therapist said the girl was improving, but it would take time. Traumas don't heal overnight. One Saturday afternoon, Murillo called Valentina into the office. There's something I need to do, and I wanted you to be there with me. What? He picked up the jewelry box, took the necklace out of it, the necklace that had caused everything. This necklace is cursed. It only brought pain. To you, to Sophia, to me. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to keep it in a safe, in a place where no one can see, because it no longer represents love. It represents pain, and I don't want any more pain in this house. He took her hand. But before I keep it, I wanted to ask you something. What? Forgive me, truly, not just with words, but with your heart. Valentina looked at him. She saw sincerity there. She saw regret. She saw love. I forgive you, but it will take time for me to trust completely again. I know, and I will wait, as long as it takes. He put the necklace in the safe, locked it. Done. Now we start over, without ghosts from the past. Valentina smiled. Without ghosts. The two left the office. They found Sophia in the living room, drawing. What are you drawing, sweetheart? Murillo approached. The drawing showed 3 people holding hands. A man, a woman, a girl, and a bright yellow sun above. It's us, our family. Valentina felt her eyes burn. It's beautiful, Sophie. Can I put it on the fridge? Yes, of course you can. The girl ran to the kitchen. She stuck the drawing on the refrigerator with a magnet. She kept looking at it, satisfied. Now, yes. Now we are a real family. And we really were. Not by blood, but by choice, by love, by permanence. The kind of family that is built with patience, with forgiveness, with new beginnings. 2 months passed. The routine had been established. Valentina was now truly part of the family. She had dinner with them every day. She went out for walks with Sofia. She talked to Murillo late into the night about everything and nothing. The case against Amanda was underway. Her lawyer tried to reach a settlement. Murillo refused. He wanted a trial. He wanted her to pay publicly for what she had done. And the investigation into Daniel continued. Slowly. But it continued. On a Tuesday morning, the investigator called. "Mr. Cardoso, I think we found him." "What?" "A man named Daniel Cardoso works as a street food chef in Ribeirão Preto. He does events, parties, those kinds of things. He has a profile on social media. I sent the link to you, sir." Murillo opened his phone. He entered the profile and froze. The photos showed a 33-year-old man, short beard, dark hair, eyes that were identical to his. There was even an old photo, the man as a child, with the same features as the portrait Murillo kept. "It's him," Murillo whispered. "My God, it's him." He called Valentina, showed her the photos. She covered her mouth with her hand. "Donnie, it's Donnie, I recognize him." "Are you sure?" "I am. The way he smiles, the shape of his face. It's him." Murillo called the investigator back. "Can you get his address? Where does he live? Where does he work?" "I already have it. He works for himself, but he has a fixed spot in a square on Saturdays. He makes food there." "Which square?" "Matriz Square." From 10 to 3 in the afternoon. "Today is Tuesday." Murillo looked at the calendar. "Saturday. 4 days." Murillo called Sofia. He told her, "We found Uncle Daniel." "Really?" "Really." "Can I go with you when you talk to him?" "Sure, of course you can." The next few days passed slowly. Murillo barely slept. He tried to imagine what he would say, how he would introduce himself. "Hi, I'm your twin brother you haven't seen in 29 years." It seemed crazy. Valentina noticed his nervousness. "Are you scared?" "Very. What if he doesn't remember me? What if he doesn't want to know about me?" "He will want to. Daniel always talked about you. He always wanted to meet you. But it's been so many years. He may have changed. He may have given up. Or he may have been waiting for this moment his whole life. Just like you." Murillo smiled. "Thank you. For being here. For everything." She held his hand. "I will always be here." Saturday arrived. The three woke up early. They had breakfast in silence. The tension was palpable. They got in the car. It took almost 2 hours to Ribeirão Preto. When they arrived at Matriz Square, it was 11:30. The place was crowded. There were craft stalls, live music, families strolling around. And in the corner, near a big tree, there was a food stall. The sign read, "Daniel Cardoso, Gourmet Street Food." Murillo stopped. His heart was beating so hard it hurt. "This is it." Valentina held his hand. "Breathe. It will be fine." The three walked slowly to the stall. There was a small line, people waiting to buy. And behind the counter, preparing the dishes with precise movements, was he, Daniel. He looked just like Murillo. The same dark eyes, the same face shape, the same concentrated expression when cooking. He wore a simple apron. His hands moved quickly, seasoning, carefully assembling the dishes. Valentina saw him first. She squeezed Murillo's hand. "It's him. It really is him." Murillo couldn't move. He stood there, frozen 10 meters away, looking at the brother he had thought was dead for so many years. Sofia pulled his hand. "Go, Dad, go talk to him." But Murillo was frozen. Almost 30 years of guilt, of longing, of pain. Everything coming to the surface at once. It was Valentina who made the decision. She let go of his hand and walked to the booth. The line was over. Daniel was cleaning the counter, preparing for the next wave of customers. "Daniel?" He looked up, smiled politely. "Hi, do you want to place an order?" Valentina felt her throat tighten. That smile, it was the same as the boy from the orphanage. "Daniel, it's me, Valentina, from Santa Clara Orphanage." He stopped, looked at her properly, his expression changed. "Val? My Val?" She nodded, crying. "It's me." Daniel stepped out from behind the counter. He looked at her as if she were a ghost. "My God, I thought I would never see you again." He hugged her tightly. They both stood there, crying, holding each other. When they let go, Daniel wiped his face. "How did you find me?" "It wasn't me who found you, it was your brother." "My brother?" Valentina pointed. Murillo was there, a few meters away, Sofia next to him. Daniel looked. He turned pale. The two men stood still, looking at each other, seeing their own reflection. What could have been if life hadn't separated them? It was Daniel who took the first step. He walked slowly towards Murillo. He stopped in front of him. "Are you Murillo?" Murillo could barely speak. He nodded. "I am your brother, your twin brother. We separated when we were little. I thought you had died. But you were alive, all this time." Daniel looked at him, then at Valentina, then back at Murillo. "I always knew I had a brother. I never forgot. I thought you had abandoned me, that you didn't want to look for me." "No, never. I searched. The whole family searched. But they said you had drowned. They said there was no way." Tears began to roll down Daniel's face. "I didn't die. I was here, waiting. I know, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for not finding you sooner." Daniel stepped forward and hugged his brother. The two stood there, embraced in the middle of the square, crying. Almost 30 years of separation, of pain, of longing, everything pouring out in that hug. The people around stopped to watch. Some took photos, others cried along. When they let go, Daniel looked at Sofia. "And who is this little princess?" Murillo picked up his daughter. "This is Sofia, my daughter, your niece." Sofia waved, shyly. "Hi, Uncle Daniel." Daniel smiled. That same crooked smile that Murillo had. "Hi, Sofia. It's a pleasure to meet you." Valentina approached, wiping her tears. "Danny, there's so much to tell." "I know." Daniel looked at his brother. "We have a lifetime to catch up on." Murillo nodded. "A lifetime." Daniel closed the stall earlier that day. The four went to a nearby cafe. They sat at a secluded table and talked for hours. Daniel told everything. How he was kidnapped at the dam, how he woke up in a strange house, how the couple who took him said he was their son now, how he grew up thinking that was normal until his parents died in the accident, how he ended up in the orphanage, how he met Valentina, how he ran away at 16 to look for his family. "I went back to that dam, you know. I went there. I thought maybe someone would remember me, but there was no one. That's when I gave up." Murillo held his brother's hand. "I never gave up. I never stopped looking. I just didn't know where to look. And it was Val who found me. She remembered me. She told you." Daniel looked at Valentina with gratitude. "You saved us, Val. You saved both of us." She shook her head. "I just did what was right." Murillo talked about his wife, about her death, about Sofia and her social phobia, about how Valentina had helped. Daniel looked at his niece affectionately. "You are very brave, you know?" Sofia smiled. "Val says that too." "Because it's true." They stayed until the cafe closed. When they left, it was already getting dark. "Come spend a few days with us," Murillo asked. "There's so much to talk about still." Daniel hesitated. "I don't want to be a bother." "You're not a bother, you're family." Daniel looked at his brother. He saw sincerity there. He saw the same desire he felt, the desire to make up for lost time. All right, I'll go. They returned to Sao Paulo together, Daniel in their car, talking the whole way. When they arrived at the mansion, Daniel stopped at the door. Is this where you live? Yes. Wow. It's huge. Murilo laughed. Come on, come in. Mrs. Celia almost fainted when she saw the two brothers together. My God! They are identical! Daniel laughed. That's what they say. The following days were about reconnection. Daniel got to know Murilo's restaurant. The two cooked together. They exchanged recipes. They laughed at the similarities. They discovered they had the same mannerisms. The same way of holding the knife. The same way of tasting the food before serving. You got it from your father, Murilo explained. He was a chef too. He taught you when you were little. I remember, sometimes flashes come to me. A big kitchen. A man with a white hat. But I thought it was a dream. It wasn't. It was a memory. Daniel learned the family's story. He knew about the mother who died of sadness. About the father who worked himself to death. About the endless search that never stopped. Did they miss me? Every day, until their last day of life. Daniel cried. He cried for the parents he never really got to know, for the stolen years, for the lost childhood. But he also smiled, because he had found his brother, because he had a family again. Sophia quickly bonded with her uncle. Daniel had infinite patience with her. He played, he drew. He taught her kitchen tricks. One night Sophia asked, Uncle Daniel, are you going to live with us? Quote. Daniel looked at Murilo. I don't know, princess. I have my job in Ribeirão, but you can work here. Quote. Murilo stepped closer. She is right. You can work with me at the restaurant, or open your own business here. Whatever you want, just stay. Daniel fell silent. I spent almost 30 years alone, thinking I had no one. And now you are offering me a family? We are not offering. You are already family. You always have been. Daniel wiped his eyes. Then I accept. I will stay. Sophia jumped for joy. She hugged her uncle tightly. Valentina watched from afar, smiling. The family was complete. Finally complete. That night, the four of them had dinner together. Mrs. Celia made a feast. Enough food to feed 10 people. This is a celebration. The family is gathered. They ate, laughed, told stories. Daniel talked about the orphanage, the mischief he did with Valentina, how she saved him from the bullies. Murilo talked about childhood, playing in the garden, how the two were inseparable. Sophia just listened, fascinated, learning about a past she had never imagined. When they finished, Daniel raised his glass. A toast. To family. To Val, who found us. To Murilo, who never gave up. To Sophia, who teaches us to be strong. And to our parents, who, wherever they are, must be happy. Everyone toasted, crying and smiling at the same time. After dinner, Murilo and Daniel went to the garden. They stayed there, looking at the stars. It still feels surreal, Daniel said, after so many years thinking I was alone, discovering that you were looking for me all along. I promised I would find you. The day you disappeared, I promised. It took time, but I kept my promise. Daniel looked at his brother. Thank you for not giving up. I would never give up. You are my brother. My other half. The two fell into silence. A comfortable silence. The silence of those who understand each other without needing to speak. Inside, Valentina was putting Sophia to sleep. Val? Hi. We are the coolest family in the world, right? Valentina smiled. For sure. Because we are not family by blood. But we chose each other. It's true. And sometimes the family we choose is better than the family we are born into. Sophia closed her eyes, smiling. I choose you all of you. And we choose you too, Sophie, always. 3 months passed since Daniel arrived. He had moved permanently to Sao Paulo. He opened a catering business with Murilo. The two worked together, creating menus, serving events. The connection between them was natural, as if the 29 years of separation had never existed. Sofia was better, much better. She went back to school, made friends. She still had bad days, but they were rare. And Valentina had found her place in the world. But there was still something unresolved between her and Murilo. They were close, very close. They talked for hours, laughed together, took care of Sofia together. But they had never talked about their feelings, about what was between them. Until one night, after putting Sofia to sleep, Murilo called Valentina to the garden. E eu queria te mostrar uma coisa. O que? Ele levou ela até a parte dos fundos, onde tinha canteiro novo, com flores de todas as cores. Plantei isso para você. Cada flor representa uma coisa. As rosas amarelas são pela amizade, as margaridas pela inocência, e as violetas, ele parou. As violetas são pela coragem. Porque você foi a pessoa mais corajosa que eu já conheci. Valentina sentiu, esses olhos arderam. Eu não sou corajosa. É sim, passou por tanta coisa, tanto sofrimento. E continuou sendo gentil, continuou acreditando nas pessoas. Isso é coragem de verdade. Ela olhou para as flores. Depois, para ele. Por que você fez isso? Porque eu precisava te falar uma coisa, e não sabia como. Então plantei jardim. Murilo, você não precisa. Preciso. Ele segurou as mãos dela. Faz 3 meses que você voltou. 3 meses que a gente está reconstruindo tudo. E cada dia que passa, eu tenho mais certeza de uma coisa. Do que, that I love you, not as a friend, not as part of the family, but as a woman, as the person I want by my side forever. Valentina felt her heart race. I know it's early. I know we're still healing. But I can't pretend I don't feel this anymore. I can't hold back. He took a step closer. You transformed my life. You brought my brother back. You saved my daughter. You saved me. And now I can't imagine a day without you. She was crying now. I love you too. I'm afraid to say it, afraid of getting hurt. But I love you. Murilo smiled. That smile she loved. So we stay together. And face the fear together. What if it goes wrong? What if it goes right? She laughed through her tears. He moved in slowly. Gave her time to back away if she wanted. But she didn't back away. She stayed there, waiting. And when he kissed her, it was as if everything finally made sense. As if all the pains of the past were worth it, just to reach that moment. When they separated, they stayed there, foreheads touching, breathing together. I love you, he whispered. I love you too. From the second floor, Sofia watched through the window, smiling. She ran to Uncle Daniel's room. Uncle, Uncle, my dad kissed Val. Daniel laughed. Took a while, huh? Took a long time. The two looked out the window. They saw the couple in the garden, hugging, laughing. I think now we are a complete family, Daniel said. Sofia nodded. Now we are. 6 months later. Life had settled into a nice rhythm. Murilo and Daniel were running the business together. Sofia was happy, healthy. Valentina had started studying pedagogy. She always wanted to work with children. The lawsuit against Amanda had ended. She was sentenced to pay a high fine and perform community service. She lost her job, her reputation, everything. Murilo didn't feel satisfaction about it, just relief that it was over. On a Saturday night, he organized a special dinner at the restaurant, just family. Sofia, Daniel, Valentina. Daniel had helped prepare everything, a special menu, good wine, live music. When they arrived, Sofia's eyes widened. Wow, everything looks so beautiful. It's a special occasion, Murilo explained. What occasion? You'll see. They dined slowly, savoring each dish, talking, laughing. When dessert arrived, Murillo signaled the musician. The music changed. It became softer, more romantic. Daniel stood up. "Come on, Sophia, let's take a walk outside." "But I want to eat dessert." "You can eat it later, come on." He took the girl outside, leaving Murillo and Valentina alone. She looked at him, suspicious. "What are you up to?" "Nothing," he smiled. "Just wanted a moment alone with you." Dessert arrived, a perfect petit gâteau, with melting ice cream on top. Valentina picked up the spoon, cut the cake, and froze. Inside was a ring, a simple but beautiful ring, white gold with a small diamond. Murillo stood up. He knelt beside her. "Valentina Costa Silva, you entered my life as a cleaner. But you became much more than that. You became Sophia's mother. You became Daniel's sister. You became the owner of my heart." She was crying, unable to speak. "I know we went through difficult times. I know I made many mistakes. But you gave me a second chance. And I want to spend the rest of my life showing that I deserved this chance." He took the ring, wiped off the chocolate. "Will you marry me? Not as boss and employee, not as friends, but as husband and wife, as a real family." Valentina looked at him. She saw love there, true love. The kind she thought she would never find. "Yes, I will marry you." He placed the ring on her finger, stood up, kissed her passionately. Outside, Daniel and Sophia were hiding behind the window. "She said yes," Sophia shouted. Daniel picked her up in his arms. "Now we are family forever." They entered the restaurant. Sophia ran to Valentina. "You are going to be my mom." Valentina hugged the girl. "I already am. It's been a while. But now it's official." Daniel hugged his brother. "Congratulations, man. You deserve it. Thank you. For everything. For accepting to be part of this. You gave me a family that is priceless." The four of them stood there, hugging, laughing, crying. Mrs. Celia, who had gone to the restaurant just to see, was crying in the corner. Finally! It was about time! That night was a celebration. They called Sister Madeline. They shared the news. The nun cried with happiness. "Valentina, my daughter, you deserve all the happiness in the world. Thank you, sister, for everything, for raising me, for teaching me to be strong. You have always been strong. You just needed someone to see that." When they hung up, Valentina looked at the ring on her finger. It still felt surreal. Murillo approached from behind. He hugged her around the waist. "Are you having second thoughts?" "Never," she turned in his arms. "I'm just afraid of waking up and discovering it's a dream." "It's not a dream. It's real, and it will be forever. Forever." He kissed her forehead. "I love you. I love you too." Sophia came running. "When is the wedding? Can I be the flower girl? Can I choose the dress?" They both laughed. "Calm down, Sophie. One thing at a time. But I want to help with everything." "You will help, yes." Valentina picked the girl up. "You will be the most beautiful flower girl in the world. And Uncle Daniel will be the best man." Daniel posed. "Obviously. Who else would it be?" Everyone laughed. There, in that restaurant, with good food and loved ones, life finally made sense. It hadn't been easy. There had been pain. There had been loss. There had been injustice. But it had been worth it. Because in the end, love had won. And they had found what they had always been looking for. A family. For real, forever. The wedding was 3 months later. Simple. Beautiful. In the garden of the mansion, Valentina wore a simple yet elegant white dress. Her hair was down, no heavy makeup, natural, just as she always was. Sophia was radiant in her pink flower girl dress. She carried a basket of petals, throwing them on her mother's path. because now she was a real mother. She would officially adopt her after the wedding. Daniel was the best man, in a tuxedo, proud next to his brother. The ceremony was emotional. Murillo cried when he saw Valentina walking in. She also cried while making her vows. "I promise to love you, in good times and bad. When you believe in me and when you doubt, I will be here, always." He held her hands. "I promise to protect you, to respect you, to believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. Because you are the most amazing woman I have ever met." They kissed under a shower of petals. Sophia screamed with happiness. The guests applauded. Mrs. Celia was crying. Mr. Jorge was discreetly wiping his eyes. Sister Madeline, who came from afar, blessed the couple. The party was joyful. Good food prepared by Murillo and Daniel. Live music. Dance. Valentina danced the waltz with Murillo, then with Daniel, then with Sophia in her arms. When the party ended and the guests left, the family stayed in the garden. Sophia was sleeping in Valentina's lap. Daniel and Murillo were talking softly. "Who would have thought, right?" Daniel said. "Two orphans and a widow, becoming a family." "The best family," Murillo added. Valentina looked up at the sky. The stars were shining. "Do you think your parents are watching?" she asked. "I'm sure. And they are happy, because we are finally together." Daniel stood up. "I'm going to take Sophia to the room. You deserve some time alone." He carefully picked up the girl, took her upstairs. Murillo and Valentina were left alone, embraced, in silence. "Are you happy?" he asked. "Very. More than I ever thought I would be." "Me too." They stayed there until late, looking at the stars, making plans for the future. They wanted more children, they wanted to travel, they wanted to grow old together, but mainly they wanted to continue being what they already were, a family, built with love, with forgiveness, with new beginnings. In the room, Sophia woke up for a moment. She looked out the window. She saw her parents in the garden, hugging. She smiled. She hugged her teddy bear. She went back to sleep. And up there, in the sky, if we believe in such things, Murillo and Daniel's parents were smiling too, because their boys had reunited, because the family was complete, because love had conquered time, distance, and all pain. Did you like this story? Do you think Murillo took too long to believe in Valentina? And did Amanda get the punishment she deserved? Tell me in the comments. Until the next story.